Draquan White's audience.
Hi, my name's Sequoia. Lashana.
Mary.
Hi, my name is Draquan White. Attention must be given to the new modern day slavery. It is unfair as it was in the old days. Slavery happens all over the world. Slavery must stop forever because it is not safe and there is great risk of death, whipping, and shooting the slave. The exporting of slaves goes on today as in the past, but it is called the new slavery. Slaves make all sorts of goods, from chocolate bars to rugs. The slave business is a wonderful money maker. Slaves have become known as the disposable society. They are discarded, and it is cheap to use one up and get replaced by another slave. One type of cheap labor is, according to Kevin Bales in his article, Slavery is Big Business, slaves are bought and sold across the national borders, forced into domestic work, cheap farm labor. There is a woman named Ima Mattel, and she was kept against her will and told she must work as a house slave in California for 3 years. This is according to Steve Hargreaves, who reported this story in the article called "I Was a Modern Day Slave in America." U.S. farm workers have been found locked inside barracks and working under guard as field slaves. This information is also reported by Kevin Bales in Disposable People, New Slavery in the Global Economy. These slaves must be freed. The U.S. should not allow future field slaves. All types of abuse has been suffered, and the workers have been abused. Workers receive no cash for their work, and many times a blind eye is turned, where some individuals have their whole lives completely controlled. This information is from Gay Seidman in her article Disposable People, New Slavery in the Global Economy. Many child slaves have suffered physical and psychological abuse, and they require help. Americans may be using slave-made goods and participating in slavery without knowing it. According to Kevin Bales in his article, Slavery is Big Business, reports that slave-produced cocoa is made into candy bars here in the U.S. by chocolate companies who have purchased the slave-produced cocoa from overseas. Then people buy the chocolate bars. See, look here. According to Charles Jacobs, in his article, Stolen Lives, paragraph 2, he says, even in New York, men, women, and children are forced to work for no pay under the threat of violence. There are still slave ships today in our world. While a slave ship off the African coast is shocking at the turn turn of the 21st century, that only represents a small part of the world's slavery, which has made a rapid escalation since 1945, and a dramatic change has taken place. People in the western half of the world are now becoming more aware of slavery. There are now anti-slavery organizations. Worldwide slavery is valued at $12.3 billion a year. The agricultural slave that used to cost $1,000 in Alabama in the year 1950, in today's prices would cost $50,000. Now, today, you can purchase that same type of slave for $100. The information is from Slavery is Big Business by Kevin Bales. Jamal Kanhi, in his column Modern Day Slave Trade, says a slave requires investment, so the owner has a long-term interest in the welfare of his workers. These people are not valued and are used as disposable goods. In conclusion, some countries are creating databases and developing ways to free and rehabilitate the slaves. More laws must be developed, and more research needs to be done and studied. Let us all agree slavery is wrong and that the slaves must be freed. It is still not right, and it is not fair.